Will you just hear me out? Hear what I'm saying? The guy changed his name. Why? To help hide his background. Why? Because there's something in it.
Now, you have a right to know who lives next door, who talks to your kid, who considers himself your friend.
You just moved in next door to you, so what can you expect? He acts correct, and when you meet, he greets you with respect. You don't suspect there's nothing wrong but what goes on next door, and why he buys so much like table shopping in the store. The more you see, the more you ask yourself if he's okay. You never see him with the bitch, but maybe he's just gay. You stay next door but have no clue but what goes on inside, because that's just the side of him, the side he likes to hide. Legs open wide, that take the rape the victim in his bed, and so the shit don't call for help, he fresh out of her head. That's sad to know, but fuck that hoe, don't even know her name, because next week you know the trick will die, they're all the same. It's just a shame he does that shit, cause otherwise it's cool. And when your music's up too loud, he doesn't act a fool. To bet your neighbor is a freak with murder on his mind, the guy that gets the bigs upset, the one they're trying to find. Do you trust your neighbor? Do you know the guy? Based upon your judgment, you might live or die. You might be a pervert or a psychopath. Mind your motherfucking business and don't cross his path. Who's the killer? Who's the slayer? Who's the Megalo got next door? Who's the monster? Who's the rapist? Who's the pervert got next door? Who's the junkie? Who's the fiend? Who's the addict got next door? Who's the loony? Who's the schizo? Who's the psycho got next door? You might be working next to you, might even wear a tie, but in the night he swings the axe and motherfuckers die. The blood is running down his face while chewing on the corpse. He's so trustworthy in the day, at night there's no remorse. Of course you never would suspect that he's a heartless killer, that on the real he is just a cannibal that's spill on a Miller in his fucking desk in case he's ever caught. Who would have thought you would get shot if you reveal his plot? And while you're out here getting away, identity would change, and no one ever would suspect he shot you point blank range. You might become the guy next door, the one that seems so cool, but you're a fool and now your kids is picking up from school. The rule that you did not obey is never trust the looks. A killer might be neatly dressed and like to read his books, but this is just his outer shell and mask his happy face, and every night somebody else is gone without a trace. Do you trust your neighbor? Do you know the guy? Based upon your judgment, you might live or die. You might be a pervert or a psychopath. Mind your motherfucking business and don't cross his path. Who's the killer? Who's the slayer? Who's the Megalo got next door? Who's the monster? Who's the rapist? Who's the pervert got next door? Who's the junkie? Who's the fiend? Who's the addict got next door? Who's the loony? Who's the schizo? Who's the psycho got next door? So who's that guy that just moved in and what he's all about? Cause in the middle of the night you hear his victims shout. I doubt you know he killed that hoe that lived across the street, carved out her heart and ate the shit to him, it's like a treat. He beat his fucking wife to death but you don't even know, cause ever since that fool moved in you never saw that hoe. Just hit the door, relax your mind, don't hate your neighbor's ways, don't interfere with what he does or everybody pays. He slices victims in the dark but then cleans out the mess. What you don't see can hurt you numb, there's nothing there to stress. Confess your worries, state your breach, and both of you will die, and no one's gonna give a shit, nobody's gonna cry. The guy next door will kill someone but you won't be around. You put some flowers on your grave cause you'll be in the ground. You found your hood and he moved in and now he's here to stay, and now your local murder rate will grow with no delay. Do you trust your neighbor? Do you know the guy? Based upon your judgment, you might live or die. You might be a pervert or a psychopath. Mind your motherfucking business and don't cross his path. Who's the killer? Who's the slayer? Who's the Megalo got next door? Who's the monster? Who's the rapist? Who's the pervert got next door? Who's the junkie? Who's the fiend? Who's the addict got next door? Who's the loony? Who's the schizo? Who's the psycho got next door?
I know I'm not like other people. I know I can't feel sympathy for other people, but I'm still human.